Hello everyone, welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I am broadcasting to you live from sunny Budapest on this Saturday, capital city of Hungary. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are doing IELTS general reading. An example and strategy to help you get that band 9. And today, of course, is March the 2nd. All right. Our materials, as usual, are coming from our websites, gieltshelp.com. So gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. And for academic IELTS, it's aehelp.com. That's academicenglishhelp.com. Both of those websites have over 100 hours of video lessons, a fully interactive course that you can use on your tablet, your phone, or your PC, as well as 6 original practice exams. The websites, they look like this. This is the General IELTS website, green background. Click that big red button there to join us. Get your My Student account. If you're an academic student, go to this website here, aehelp.com, and click that big red button. Hi, Pachu. Hi, Mamoon Fast. Hi, Allah. Hi, Mukesh and Nurul. Grace, Kakao. Good to see you in class again, as usual. Being studious. Fantastic. All right, students. So, today we are doing general reading strategy. Yesterday we did our task 1 letter writing. That video is available on the channel, so you can check it out there if you missed yesterday's class. Tomorrow, no class. We're doing a video shoot. It'll be a new speaking interview example. And then we're back again on Wednesday with speaking part 1 and 2. I know many students are writing their IELTS exams this week or this weekend, so good luck to those students who are doing that. All right, students, here we go with today's reading section. Now, this reading, this is section 3 from our General IELTS test number 5. Okay, if you have access to our websites, you can listen to the audio for this. We'll read this together today. This is section 3. So the General IELTS reading, it has 3 sections. Okay, section 1 has 2 passages, 2 short passages. Section 2 has 2 short passages, and then section 3 is a longer passage. You need to use different strategies for section 3. Here's something interesting to remember. We're going to read this in just a moment, but just a really important note for you, okay? So remember that section 3 is the most difficult reading passage. So, remember, section 3 is longer than the passages in sections 1 and 2. It is the most difficult, okay? And you must use different strategies. What I mean by different strategies is in section 1 and 2 reading of general IELTS, not academic, okay? In section 1 and 2 of general reading, skimming and scanning is an okay strategy. It's not great, but it's an okay strategy. In section 3, skimming and scanning, so scanning for answers is not a good strategy because the text is too long and there are too many questions. What will happen is you will run out of time. Okay, keep that in mind. So I'm going to show you some good strategies for Section 3 General IELTS reading. Number one is you have to read the text. Okay, you must read the full text. So let's step back and let's begin with correct steps for answering questions in Section 3 of General IELTS reading. Okay, first of all, so this is step number one. Let's mark this as a step. Okay, so step one. All right, read the title and predict the content. So let's talk about that a little bit with our reading example here. So here, students, the title is The Rise and Fall of Lance Armstrong. Who is Lance Armstrong? We have a picture here. It's helping us a little bit. Anybody know who Lance Armstrong is? Okay. Even if you don't know who Lance Armstrong is, you should be able to predict and guess a bit of information just by looking at the picture and understanding the title. Okay. Good afternoon, Tim. Hi, Aman. You're just a little bit late, but that's okay. So even if you don't know who Lance Armstrong is, that's okay. Look at the picture. Who is that? Who does it look like it is? What can you get from the picture? So Amandeep says it's a cycle rider. It's a cyclist. Yeah, we call them a cyclist, sure. So look at the picture. If there is one. Here we can guess that Lance Armstrong is a professional cyclist. Okay, good. So we got that from the picture. Obviously competing in bicycling. What is the biggest bicycle race in the world? Allah Moussa says maybe a cycling hero. Sure. Think about it. What's the biggest bicycle race in the world? And why does it say the rise and the fall? What does that mean? So clearly this is a person. His name is Lance Armstrong. What do we mean by rise and fall? Okay. Amandeep says maybe the Olympics. The Olympics, it's a big competition for bicyclists, absolutely, but it's not the biggest. The biggest one for anybody who follows is the Tour de France. Tour de France, the French tour, the Tour de France. And Grace Cacao says, well, the rise and the fall probably has to do something with winning and losing. So being on the top, being the best, and then losing. Pachu says maybe gaining popularity and then cheating in competition. Excellent prediction, Pachu. Good. So that's what we get from the title. Okay, so from the title, we get that his climb to victory and becoming famous to losing, maybe cheating, and losing fame. Sure. So all of those are good predictions. All right. So if you can get that information, so if you can think, all right, so this is about a bicyclist. It's about them winning and maybe losing. Maybe something about the Olympics. Maybe something about the Tour de France, right? The biggest bicycling competition. Fantastic. Good. Okay. What do you do next? So that's your step one. Okay. Always read the title, predict the content. This is especially true for section 3 of general IELTS. Okay? Amandeep says from 100 to 0. Amandeep, we also say from 0 to hero and back. Yep, possible, sure. Okay, what do I do next? So I read the title, I looked at the picture. Okay, I'm reading about a famous bicyclist. His name is Lance Armstrong. Maybe he competed and won some big international events like Tour de France, like the Olympics. He became famous. Then maybe something happened, something bad. He lost, he cheated. What do I do next? What's my step number 2? Okay, if you're thinking, Adrian, you should look at the questions. Your thinking is correct. Okay, so look at the questions. Now remember, read questions that have information which is in the text, and do not read questions or parts of questions that are not in the text. Okay, so you can think about this as question types. Okay, we're already predicting the paragraphs from the title, right? So we just did that in the first step. So now we're going to look at the questions. You can think about it this way. So questions to read before the text include questions like fill in the blanks. Okay, summary completion. Matching information. Okay, so those are some. It's not all. I'm just giving you some of the examples. What are questions that you should not read before? What are those? Okay, questions you should not read before the text include what kind? Yeah, that's right, Pachu. True, false, not given. So true, false, not given, or yes, no, not given. Multiple choice answers. Okay. Sentence completion answers. Okay, these are confusing. These are extra or false information, and they will confuse you. So it's a really bad idea to read those ones. Okay, let's take a look at our text here, and let's see what kind of questions we're dealing with in this passage. The rise and fall of Lance Armstrong. Let's check it out. Scroll to the end. All right. So here we have no more than 2 words and or a number from the text for each answer. Write your answers in boxes 28 to 32 on your answer sheet. These are short answer questions. Okay, so short answer, it's 2 words and or a number. Should I read these 5 questions before I read the passage? If you're thinking yes, your thinking is correct. Because obviously all of this information will be somewhere in the passage. So Adiba, Siddiqui, you're right. Yes, read this one. Harmeet, Pachu, thanks for agreeing. Great. Yeah, so these ones will be somewhere in the text. So let's read these. In which city did Armstrong participate in the Olympic Games? Okay, so here we're looking for a city. Already you can focus on the key information. In which month and year was Armstrong first diagnosed with cancer? Okay, so here we're looking for month and year and diagnosis of cancer. So this is how I'm thinking about these questions before I read the text. Yes, you have to read the text. Passage 3 is looking for Band 8, Band 9 level students. If you need to get a high band, like Band 7 or 8, you need to do it in this way. This is the correct and fastest way to do this. Okay. What fashion accessory did Armstrong popularize? Here the key is fashion accessory. Who was the first person to accuse Armstrong of cheating? So person cheating. Okay. How many Tour de France titles is Armstrong currently credited with? Tour de France titles or championships. That's the key. That's what I'm focusing on for those questions. Okay, so again, just a quick read. Don't start searching for these answers. That won't work. You'll waste way too much time reading the text 10 times or skim reading it 10 times. All right. Here we have a complete each sentence with the correct ending, A to F. So we have 4 sentence beginnings and we have 6 sentence endings. Should I read all of this information here? So with this question, should I read all of this? Is it a good idea? What should I do? What's the best strategy when I see this kind of question? Harmeet says, just read the questions. Mukesh, if you're agreeing with Harmeet and you're saying, yep, then you're right. Here, I don't know which ones are the correct answers, which ones are the wrong answers. There's definitely 2 false answers here that can be very confusing. So I'm just going to leave this. So don't read that. Okay, just leave this one and just read these 4. So Armstrong maintained his innocence for. Armstrong defended his actions by. Though he was once a hero, Armstrong's legacy is now. Armstrong, like everyone, is blank. Okay? So just the questions. Leave the answers. Okay, so here we have to, this is a kind of, it's almost like a type of multiple choice. Which 4 of the following accomplishments are mentioned by the author? So selecting the correct information. Okay? So here we have to choose 4. This is questions 37 to 40. So in your answer sheet, it's worth 4 marks. Okay, from boxes 37 to 40. Which 4 of the following accomplishments are mentioned? And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 choices. Should I read this question or not? Thanks, Alice, for your positive love. I can feel it. All right. So should I read this or not? Harmeet says, no, not that one. Yeah, definitely. Harmeet, absolutely. You're right, okay? Do not read this question. Jazzy Prince, no, absolutely. Nope, don't read this, okay? Do not read this question. It's a very, very, very confusing question. Why? Because only 4 are correct. So you have 10 pieces of information here. 6 of these are wrong, okay? Because Amandeep, 6 pieces of information here are incorrect. If you read it before you read the text, it will really confuse you about what is actually in the text. Okay, so it's a really bad idea to read this kind of question before you read, and you're wasting time. You're reading 6 pieces of information that's nowhere in the text. So it's a waste of time and it's very confusing. Okay, so let's go back. And now step number 3 is read the text, okay? Read it at a comfortable pace. So here's your step number 3. Okay? Step 3, read the text in a comfortable, constant, consistent pace. Okay? Read the text at a comfortable pace. Pay attention to the information and visualize. You have about 10 minutes to read the text carefully. This still gives you 8 minutes to answer questions. Okay, so step number 1, looking at the title, visualizing, predicting. Step number 2, looking at the questions. That should only take you 1 or 2 minutes, okay, at most. Then you have about 8 to 10 minutes to read the text. How long do you think a high school student in the US or Canada or an English-speaking country needs to read this text? So if you are in the US or Canada, how long do you think a grade 11, grade 12 student needs to read this text so that they understand what they're reading and they can answer these questions? It's roughly 700 words. What do you think? If you're thinking roughly 5 minutes, then your thinking is correct. Yeah, Harmeet, you're right. So the average student in grade 11 or grade 12 will need about 5 minutes to read this text. So you have about twice as much time, okay? You have about 10 minutes to read this. That's lots of time. Just don't panic, okay? Just don't panic, all right? So let's read this together, nice and smooth, and then we'll talk about it, okay? Again, visualize and picture what we're reading. So read aloud, practice your aloud reading at home. Okay, read aloud. Read with me. Okay, nice and loud. Hi, Rekha. Welcome into the class. Good timing. We're just starting our read. So here we go. Read with me. Lance Armstrong is known for many things: cycling, philanthropy, surviving cancer. But unfortunately, his most significant legacy may be his cheating. A 7-time winner of cycling's most prized race, the Tour de France, Armstrong's fall from celebrated athlete and inspirational human being to disgraced cheater is an unfortunate example of the pluses and minuses of the human spirit. Okay, I just read the introduction. It told me about Lance Armstrong, who became very famous, and then he lost his good name because he was cheating. Born in Texas in 1971, Lance Armstrong began cycling competitively at 13 years old. Originally a triathlete, Armstrong quit swimming and running in favor of his best discipline, cycling. Considered a favorite to win the road race at the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona, he instead finished a disappointing 14th. Soon after, he began to race professionally, and it was very soon after, in 1993, that he won his first major cycling event, the World Road Race Championship in Norway. It is unclear whether he won it cleanly or whether he was cheating even then. This paragraph is the beginnings of Lance Armstrong's cycling career at 13, then going to the Barcelona Olympics and winning his first championship in 93. Okay? When I'm reading at home, especially students, I'm stopping to think like this about what did I read? Okay, think always, what did I just read? All right? Now this speed is okay. All right? The speed that I'm reading is okay. In 1996, Armstrong's life changed. In October of that year, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer, which has spread throughout his body, even to his brain. He was 50-50 at best to survive. Bucking the odds, Armstrong survived and made it known publicly that he would race again. While the doubters were many, Armstrong privately persevered. Less than 3 years after the diagnosis, Armstrong won the Tour de France. He was immediately lionized and treated as a hero. He became an icon and an inspiration for those struggling with cancer because he was an example of how a person could not only overcome cancer, but thrive after doing so. What is this paragraph about? About Lance Armstrong's battle with cancer, testicular cancer, surviving and becoming a hero. Armstrong started the Livestrong Foundation in 1997 in order to improve the lives of cancer survivors and those affected by cancer. After his cycling victories, the foundation found much success, eliciting tens of millions of dollars in donations and entering a little yellow bracelet into the public consciousness. Over 80 million yellow bracelets were sold, with proceeds going directly to the foundation. The yellow bracelet became a symbol of cancer support and survival, and no matter what Armstrong's negative deeds, the money he helped to raise has done untold good in the cancer community. This paragraph is about Lance Armstrong's contribution to helping cancer patients around the world. It's his charity, a little yellow bracelet. Okay, maybe some of you have seen that. Armstrong would go on to win 6 more Tour de France competitions, giving him an unprecedented 7 consecutive victories. Having retired from cycling in 2005, he focused his efforts on his foundation and his family. It would not be long, however, before the storm clouds began to approach. This paragraph is about his great achievement of winning 7 Tour de France titles and retiring. As early as 2001, there were whispers that not all was right with Armstrong's seemingly inhuman abilities. But it was not until 2010 when Armstrong's former teammate Floyd Landis, a Tour de France champion himself and admitted cheater, accused Armstrong of cheating. The charges were investigated, and eventually more voices came forward in support of Landis's accusation. Armstrong continued to deny the allegations. In August 2012, he was stripped of all his Tour de France titles due to overwhelming evidence that he had participated in a vast blood doping conspiracy. He was a cheater. Armstrong maintained his innocence for several more months until finally admitting that he had, in fact, cheated. He cited his ruthless desire to win as the main reason for taking illegal performance-enhancing drugs. Whew, long paragraph. What is that about? Students, what is that paragraph? It's about him cheating, right? It's about him cheating and then losing all of his victory titles. And it's about another man named Floyd Landis who came forward and said, hey, Lance Armstrong cheated. Okay. Lance Armstrong's legacy is muddy. Once an inspiration and a hero to many, he is now merely another cheater who would go to any length to win. But his philanthropic success cannot be taken away from him, and it would be unfair to dismiss all his accomplishments because of his mistakes. Armstrong is a flawed person who was trying to do his best. Like all of us, he is human. What is this paragraph about? It's the conclusion. it explains that at the end of the day, Lance Armstrong is just another human. He's not perfect. However, he definitely has helped many, many people who are fighting cancer around the world with his contributions. Okay. All right, students. So if you look at the time right now, the elapsed time, that was 10 minutes. Okay. So that was a 10-minute read. I hope most of you noticed that. So a lot of students think, oh, 20 minutes is not enough. This was 10 minutes with a slow, consistent read and asking, what is this paragraph about after each paragraph? Not only asking, but answering. After each paragraph. Okay? This is excellent practice. Okay? So this is excellent practice. Grace Cacao is asking, what is a philanthropist? A philanthropist, Grace, is a person, usually a wealthy person, who dedicates their time to helping people. So if you think of a millionaire, who goes to Africa to help sick children, or someone like Lance Armstrong who dedicates his time to helping people who are fighting cancer, that person is a philanthropist. Another way to say it, Grace Cacao, is it's a good doer. Okay. So we read it, we understood it. Good. Now we can answer questions. All right. Here's an important tip. Okay, this is your goal. To get band 7 and higher, you need to read the passage in roughly 10 minutes, like we just did. Understand about 70% of what you read. And answer 60% or more of the questions without looking at the text. Now, of course, here's another important point. Tip. And this is all for passage 3. So students, this is all for passage 3, okay? So if you have to look when you read like this, then you should know at least where you're looking, okay? Now, if you have to search, at least you know where you are searching. You're not just searching the whole text. Okay. All right, let's look at the questions. And let's try to answer these as well as we can. Okay, so this is, again, effective strategy. All right, write your answers in boxes 28 to 32 on your answer sheet. Here we go, number 28. In which city did Armstrong participate in the Olympic Games? Let's see how good your recall is now that we read this at a comfortable pace. So, Mandeep Kaur, a philanthropist isn't just a social worker. It's somebody who does good in the society and donates their time and money. Prashil Balusu says, I believe it was Barcelona. Mandeep says Barcelona. Mandeep says Barcelona. Just make sure, Mandeep, that you have a capital B, okay, for Barcelona. Now, absolutely, Barcelona is the right answer. If you don't know the spelling, you can check later, but definitely Barcelona. Okay, Barcelona, Spain. Of course, that's Spain. Good. All right. In which month and year was Armstrong first diagnosed with cancer? Anybody remember that without looking at the text? Anybody remember which month and year without looking back at the text? Mandeep Kaur says, I believe it was 1996. Prashil says maybe October 1996. Okay, I can just leave that one as a question and go back to it later. Okay, let's say October 1996 for now, maybe. Okay. Maybe. We'll leave that as a question mark. Let's just go to the next one. Number 30. What fashion accessory did Armstrong popularize? So according to the text, which fashion accessory did Armstrong make famous around the world? And then, of course, a lot of other companies started to use the same idea with different colors. Grace Cacao says it's a yellow bracelet. Yeah. Okay, yellow bracelet. Very good. Good for you. Mukesh, yellow band. No, it'd have to be bracelet. Band, because a band could be a headband or an ankle band. It's yellow bracelet. Okay. If you are a student who needs to get a band 7 or more on your general IELTS, you should not be searching for a question like this one. You should be able to answer this without looking at the text. If you're searching for this kind of a question, it's unlikely that you're going to reach a band 7. Okay, number 31. Who was the first person to accuse Armstrong of cheating? Anybody? Surendra says his friend. And Mandeep says, I believe it was Floyd Landis, right? Now you need the big F. Okay, and again here, I'm going to put a little question mark, just because maybe I don't know the spelling, but I remember his name is Floyd something, okay? So here, little question mark, just like with October. It's okay, we can check those after. How many Tour de France titles is Armstrong currently credited with? So careful here. How many Tour de France titles is he currently credited with? Prashil Balusu says 0. And Prashil, you get that point. Why is it 0, Prashil? So why is the answer 0? Again, you cannot search for this, so you have to be able to answer this. So again, this is one of those questions. If you're looking for a band 7 or more, you need to answer that without trying to skim or scan. 0. Okay. Prashil, I see your answer there. Yeah. So Prashil says because he was not ripped off of the titles, Prashil. He was stripped. He was stripped of his titles. That's right, Prashil. Good for you. You paid attention to that very important word, currently. It means right now, right? He used to have 7. He used to have 7, but now he has 0. Students, pay really careful attention to the details, okay? Here's a hint, okay? Keep this in mind. These questions get more and more difficult, okay? This is the easiest question, and then it gets more and more difficult. So this question should be more difficult than this question. If it seems too good to be true, it might just be, okay? If it seems too easy to be true, it might just be. So remember that, especially if it's a later question. So if it's not the first question, but a later question like this one, pay very careful attention to the wording. Okay, so keep this tip in mind. Tip: if the question seems too easy to be true, it probably is. Therefore, pay careful attention to the question points. Or question question's words or wording. Okay, this is especially true if the question is later in the set. Okay, keep that in mind. Keep that important tip in mind. All right. Okay, so should I go to the next questions? No. I should check for this one, and I should check this name, make sure I spelt it correctly. So this one was diagnosed with cancer. Which paragraph am I looking for cancer? So which paragraph? Now that I read the text carefully, for the students who are following from the beginning, which paragraph am I searching for? Ali Al-Hadi says, I think it's somewhere around the third paragraph. That's right. Remember when I was asking the questions, what is this paragraph about? I think it was second or third. That's right. So Ali, Mubashir, Nair, your thinking is correct. It's got to be somewhere in that first or second. Third. So here we go. In 1996, Armstrong's life changed. In October of that year, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. So good for you, for the students that realized that that was the third paragraph, right? So that's your, what's called your comprehension sequencing. That's why you practice that skill at home. Read the paragraph, ask what it's about. Go to the next one, read it, ask what it's about. Okay? Then you can find the information very quickly. Much more effective than just trying to skim and scan for answers. Okay? Believe me, you'll thank me later. All right, so now I know that that question or that answer is correct. So October 1996, okay, is my answer. And then Floyd Landis. Where was Floyd Landis? Where is Floyd Landis located? What paragraph? Okay. Amandeep, you don't need to memorize the names, dates, and years, etc., but you should keep a sequence of the information. Nair says that was the last. I don't think so. I think it would be before the conclusion, Nair. So Lubna says maybe the fourth, fifth paragraph, something like that. I agree. That would be mine. So here's the second to last, right? So this is just before the conclusion. And there's the name right there. It jumps out. Okay? Floyd Landis. Did I spell it correctly? Floyd Landis? Yes, I did. Capital F, capital L. Okay? Don't make a silly mistake. Yeah, it's the fourth or the fifth, right? Quick search. Boom. There it is. No problem. All right. Good. So I'm confident in my answers. And now I can go on to the next questions. Okay? So Barcelona, October 1996, yellow bracelet, Floyd Landis, 0. Fantastic. Doing great, students. Okay, see how well you're focused now and see how clearly you understand the text and the information and how confident you are with where you can look for that information. So you're not scrolling or scanning the whole text like I always say to students, like a crazy squirrel that's lost their nuts. So you don't want to do that in the IELTS, okay? It's very bad use of energy and time. Okay, so 33, this is the matching endings. Armstrong maintained his innocence for. So we need some kind of a time here. And we have our choices. Okay, I remember it was for some months, right? He maintained his innocence for some months. So he said for a while, I didn't cheat, I'm innocent. So eliciting tens of millions, no. A hero for battling cancer, no. Not perfect, made mistakes, no. Unclear since he was a cheater, doesn't make sense. A long time, though he eventually admitted his guilt, claiming he had an innate desire to win. What's the answer, students? Yeah, E. E is the only one that makes sense as far as context or content. Grammar-wise, E makes sense. So E does look like the right answer. So in your answer sheet, you put E. Okay. Armstrong defended his actions by. Okay, so it means that he said, hey guys, I cheated, yes, but I did it because. What did he say? Well, he said something like, I really wanted to win, right? So let's see which one matches. Tens of millions of dollars, no. Hero, doesn't make sense, not perfect, nah. Unclear, long time. And I see a lot of you are saying F. Okay. Yeah, claiming he had an innate desire to win. He really, really wanted to win. I cheated because I really, really wanted to win. That's why I did it. So F is the correct answer for those of you who thought F for the second one. Right. Okay. Though he was once a hero, Armstrong's legacy is now what? What's going on with Armstrong's legacy? It's ruined. It's done. It's finished. Okay? What I do is first I answer on my own, so I finish the sentence on my own, and then I search for the closest match. Okay? That's a good strategy for this kind of question. Finish the sentence with your own idea from what you understood in the text, and then find the closest match. Okay? So though he was once a hero, Armstrong's legacy is now. I liked the answer that Abdul Salam said. He said, and is now a zero. Yeah, hero to zero. Absolutely, Abdullah. It's the same idea. It's good. I like it. Okay, so which one matches? Tens of millions of dollars. Hero for those battling cancer. Not perfect. Unclear since he was a cheater, but he did a lot of good. A long time, though he eventually, okay. So which one is the best one? A, eliciting tens of millions of dollars. A hero for those battling. Not perfect and has made mistakes. Unclear since he was a cheater, but he did a lot of good. The best match is D, Prashil. Very good. Mandeep. Great. Yeah, it's unclear, right? He's not a hero in bicycling anymore, but for fighting cancer and helping cancer patients, he's still a really great guy. So it's kind of a tricky one there. So D is the best answer. Okay, that's the best answer. Okay, Armstrong, like everyone is, finish the sentence. One word. What's an easy way to finish this sentence? With one word. Armstrong is like everyone else. Everyone is what? You, me, we are all human. That's right. We're all human. Amandeep says you're confused a little bit. Amandeep, I think you're confused by number 35. Legacy means his story that lives on, okay? So legacy means the story that lives on. Oops, sorry. That lives on. That's your legacy. Okay, your legacy is what people remember after we die or after we finish our careers. What we remember about Lance Armstrong is that he's a cheater, but we also remember that he is a fighter of cancer, and he's done a lot of good in that. So that's why D makes sense there. I hope that clears it up for you. Human for the last one. So A, eliciting tens of millions of dollars. A hero, not perfect, and has made mistakes. That is a lengthy way of saying human. So the best answer for that one is C. So for those of you who said C for 36, you're correct, because human means to be not perfect and make mistakes. Okay, so I think most people, especially those of us who are somewhat humble, will agree that being human in a large part is being imperfect and making mistakes. So if you chose C for that one, good for you. Okay, for these answers, you probably should not be searching in the text anywhere. Okay, if you're searching for these, you're going to waste time, energy, and you'll probably get some of these wrong. All right, last question, and this one now we can do that we've read the text. This one absolutely would be very difficult to search. Just imagine if you're trying to search for all 10 of these pieces of information and you only find 4. So which 4 are the accomplishments mentioned by the author? Okay. He won the Norwegian Cycling Championship. Okay. Is that mentioned? Maybe. Okay, let's go through them. He won, for a time, 6 Tour de France titles. I think many of you said 7, right? This is 6. So I don't think so. Okay. He became an inspiration for those trying to overcome cancer. Yes or no for C? So C means he is a hero for those people who are trying to battle with cancer. Yes or no for C? Lumna says yes. So that one for sure, right? Of course. I mean, just surviving, even if he's cheating or not cheating, it doesn't matter. If he survives a serious, serious cancer, he's definitely an inspiration. His foundation earned tens of millions of dollars in donations. So did his foundation, D, earn tens of millions of dollars? Amandeep says 80 million, so maybe false. Amandeep, 80 million is tens of millions. So tens of millions, that can be 80 million. Okay? So that looks good to me. All right? A lot of you are saying yes. He was stripped of all of his cycling titles for cheating. So he was stripped of all of his cycling titles for cheating. E. Now be very careful, students. You're saying for E that it's yes, but you need to be careful, okay? Slow down. Remember this note. Okay? Remember this note, ladies and gents. If the question seems too easy to be true, it probably is. Therefore, pay careful attention, okay? Notice the wording. Which 4 of the following accomplishments? Accomplishments are positive. Okay? Is it an accomplishment to lose all of your victories? No, it's not an accomplishment. That's a loss. Okay? We don't consider that an accomplishment. If I take away your gold medal, that's not an accomplishment. That's a loss. Okay? So even though the author mentions this, it's not an accomplishment. It's which 4 of the following accomplishments are mentioned by the author. So careful with the wording, ladies and gents, okay? He began cycling competitively at 13 years old. So he started to be in bicycling competitions at 13. Is that true or is it not for F? What do you think? Does the author say, hey, he started cycling at 13? Yeah, absolutely. Remember that? Yeah, you do. Of course. Aman, Lubna, Mandeep, Mubashir, Prashil, Allah, all in agreement. You're saying, yeah, that looks good. Okay. He won the World Road Race Championship. Did he win the World Road Race Championship? The last one, G here. Did he win the World Road Race Championship? G? I think he did. Okay. Let's put that as a question mark then, if you're not sure. His legacy is muddy. Is that an accomplishment? No. Okay, so H here is no, because it's just like this one. He was stripped of his cycling titles. It's not an accomplishment. Okay, his legacy is muddy is not an accomplishment. All right. He won many races, including the 1992 Olympic road race. Yeah, Abdallah, you're good. You picked up on this one. It's a negative, right? He won the Olympics in 1992. Mandeep says no. That's right, Mandeep. Remember, he placed a disappointing 14th. He was 14th in the Olympics in 1992 in Barcelona. So that's definitely no. Okay. He won for a time 7 Tour de France titles. So he won for a time 7 Tour de France titles. So for a time, he had 7 Tour de France titles. Is that true? Okay. Yeah, absolutely. That is an achievement, right? So for a time, he had 7 Tour de France titles. Okay, so now these are the tricky ones here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like all 4 are good here. Now this is where the band 9 is separated from the band 8. So if I were to do the IELTS students, I would go back, I would look at this one here and this one here. I actually remember that he won the World Road Race Championship. It's not called the Norwegian Cycling Championship. It's in Norway, and it's called the World Road Race Championship. This is an accomplishment. So this one, yes. Okay, now my problem is that I have 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which of these 5 is not an accomplishment? Is it C, D, F, G, or J? Which of these are not an accomplishment? My guess would be F. Okay? I would take out F. So I would leave this one here, this one here, this one, and this one. Those are the ones I would leave. Why would I take out F? Well, he's competing at 13 years old, so he's in races, but that just means he's racing. That's not really an accomplishment yet, I think. He hasn't won anything yet, so I would take this one out. I think this one, and this one are his big accomplishments. That's just my opinion. All right, let's have a look. If you had to search for the Norwegian, this one here, you know that it's somewhere in the beginning, in body paragraph 1 or 2, right, in the beginning. So you could have searched for that one. You could have gone back and said, okay, I remember that was somewhere in the beginning. Here it is. So he won his first major cycling event, the World Road Race Championship in Norway. Okay, so the name of it is this one here. So you could have searched for that one if you had to. Now, let's take a look at the answer key and see how we did. Okay, here we go. All right, students, so see how you did. Here we go. Barcelona, that's great. Okay, October 1996, good. Yellow bracelet. Floyd Landis, and 0. Fantastic. All right. E, F, D, and C. That was fantastic. Good job there. And here it's C, D, G, and J. So that also looks great. Okay, it looks like we got all of those correct. Good job, students. Way to hang in there. All right, students. So now let's just quickly recap what we've said in this class, all right? For general IELTS, section 3 reading, it's a page and 3/4. It has 2 or 3 different question types. Skimming and scanning is not an effective strategy, okay? It's not an effective strategy. What do you need to do? Step number 1, read the title. If you have a picture, great. Predict what you're going to read about, okay? So think, what is this? Why is this information? How is it presented? Step 2, look at the questions. If it's information that's in the passage, read it. If it's true, false, not given, multiple choice, don't read it, just like we had some here, okay? Don't waste time. Step 1, step 2 should take you maximum 2 minutes. Step 3, read the text at a comfortable speed. You can take up to 10 minutes. When you finish a paragraph in your brain, think, what is this paragraph about? Answer it, remember it, keep a system, keep notes in your brain about what you're reading in each paragraph. So if you have to search for answers, you know where to search. You don't have to read the whole text. Okay? Remember, to get a band 7 or higher, you read the passage in these 10 minutes, you understand roughly 70% or hopefully more, and you answer 60% of the questions without searching through the text again. Okay, if you do have to search, at least you know where to look. All right? And keep this in mind. If the answer seems too easy, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So pay very careful attention to the wording. Okay? A student just asked, why was A an incorrect answer? And I'll show you that very quickly. So we'll just hop back here to the very end. So the student says, why is this? He won the Norwegian cycling championship. Why is that incorrect? Because there is no such event as the Norwegian cycling championship. Notice how this is a big N, big C, big C. It's the name of the event. It's not the name of the event. The name of the event is the World Road Race Championship, which is in Norway, but it's not called the Norwegian Cycling Championship. So a little bit tricky, but there is no such thing as a Norwegian Cycling Championship. That's why it's not that one, Prashil, okay? All right, students, that's it for me for today and for this week's of IELTS General Live classes. Next week, Wednesday, we are continuing with speaking part 1 and 2. Okay, that's on Wednesday, so make sure to come, be present in the class. Until then, I really, really highly suggest joining our world-class IELTS preparation websites. This is aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Click that big red button to join. Get all of our fantastic video lessons pre-recorded. Also get our 6 full practice exams and our interactive course. For general IELTS, go to this website here with the green background, gieltshelp.com. Click on that big red button and join us there. You're very welcome, Abida. You're very welcome, Lubna. Thank you so much, students, for watching. For those of you who were here all week, good for you. Great job. Keep up the studies, and I'm sure you will get a high band score on IELTS. And even more importantly, you will have not only good English, but also good communication skills, which is the biggest asset for a successful life. Keep up the good studies. Make sure to practice at home. I wish you a great rest of your weekend. Much love to all of you. Bye for now.